Welcome to Wider Lens, stories from the world race, an 11-month mission trip to 11 different countries. Our first story takes place in Yangon, Myanmar. 1 year ago, a squad unexpectedly planted a church in a park. 1 year later, some members of that team have returned as leaders to answer the question, how did they possibly plant a church in a park, and what happened after that?
And I asked God, you are really my savior that you show me.
I'm super stoked to be here. My first time in Myanmar was last year on my original race, and I actually was in Myanmar for 2 months. In 1 month I was here in Yangon, and we were able to lead quite a few people to the Lord, and now we're able to come back and continue to cultivate those relationships, and we're working towards planting a church here.
We're just in a park inviting a bunch of people to listen to some music and talk to them a little bit about God and invite them to English class.
And then if we want to jump into something else, we'll kind of figure it out.
So Justin Bieber maybe?
Yeah. Sometimes worship.
So last year when I was in Myanmar, the squad came together for our month 2 debrief here in Yangon.
We had no place to meet, and so we started meeting in this big park.
And we would have our sessions and do worship every single day.
We stick out like sore thumbs, and so we just really have the ability to captivate the people around us and draw people in.
One of my friends, Josie, was reading her Bible, and she was laying down in the grass. A woman named Zion came up. She asked Josie, are you reading the Bible? And Josie was like, yeah, I'm reading the Bible. Do you know Jesus? Are you a Christian? And she said, yes, I'm a Christian. Actually, I'm an evangelist. I love to share the gospel.
And so we asked if she wanted to come and interpret for us.
How about we walk around and invite people to come and worship with us later? And since we have Zion, maybe she can translate for us a testimony and present the gospel and see if we can, bring in a harvest. She said, not only that, I'll call my friend Mang, and he has a sister-in-law and her friends who love to worship in Burmese, and they can bring their guitars, and so we can worship in Burmese too.
We would do altar calls, and people would come up and accept Jesus, which was crazy. We're just in the middle of this park.
So it was really incredible what happened, and so we asked Zion, would you come back and do this with us tomorrow? And she agreed. And so Teacher Mong actually came back too over the next few days, and people kept coming back. So it came to the day that the squad was heading to India next for month 3. And so called together the squad leaders and asked them, hey, I feel like God's doing something right now really special. If anybody in the squad is willing to stay back.
And just further discipled these people that were there.
And we called ourselves Team Namaste, Namaste in Yangon. And as we got to know Teacher Mang, he shared with us that he has an English class that he was having in his living room. He's just like, I really want to plant a church in my living room. I'm trying to lead people to the Lord and gather and start having church services. And I really think it's amazing how you guys are evangelizing in the park right now. You're being so bold, and people are really responding to you well. I would really love it if you guys would come and do this at the park that I live by. Like, man, it feels like the biggest challenge for church planting is finding someone that we can raise up to lead the church, to sustain what God has done. So we started teaching English at Teacher Mang's apartment, and people were responding pretty much the same way. It was really easy to talk to people, and people are super interested in coming and learning English from foreigners.
And wrote him on. I live in Yangon. I met Lacey and Stephanie at Teacher Meng's office.
Teacher Meng pulled me aside and he's like, hey, you know the girl that you were talking to tonight? Her name's Rose. He was just like, Lacey, that's really good soil. She's kind of in a vulnerable place right now. She shared with Ruth, his wife, that she had become increasingly depressed. He was like, she needs a lot of hope, and I think she would really respond well to hearing about Jesus. And so I started inviting her on walks with me, and we started going to coffee. And
That time is so valuable for me because I had a lot of questions.
yeah, before Jesus got a hold of me, I was very depressed, and I had a lot of the same feelings as her, so I was able to relate to her. And then when I started sharing with her about what Jesus had done for her, and that it wasn't just for me, that he actually had died for her. And
I asked God, you are really my Savior that you show me. When he came to my dream, he said me, I'm your Savior in the time he wore white dress. Yeah, that night dream. Yeah, I believe he is alive and I'm his daughter.
she said, yeah, I want Jesus. I want Jesus. How do I receive Jesus? Help me to know God. And we led her in a salvation prayer, and she accepted Jesus into her heart.
Depression was away from my life. I got confident again, and so good, everything changing of my life.
It was really amazing how she responded to Jesus. It was obvious, like even in her face and in the way that she spoke, that she had a lot more peace and that she had a lot more hope than she did before. And even that night at English class, she was sharing her testimony with these 3 Muslim boys that we had invited to English class from the park. And she didn't even know what she was doing. She didn't know she was sharing her testimony. It was just coming out of the overflow of what God had been doing in her heart. And then she started coming, to the park with us and sharing with people what Jesus had done in her heart.
Hallelujah.